Can you imagine that the Beatles couldn't read music? One of the most influential bands in history, the Beatles, never learned to read sheet music. John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr created their legendary melodies and songs purely by ear, relying on their musical intuition. Despite this, they gave the world hit after hit, forever changing the course of musical history. This fact breaks the stereotype that to create great music, one must be a professional musician who reads music. Their exceptional creative talent and improvisational ability prove that passion and talent matter more than technical skills. The flight of the chicken. Why don't chickens fly like eagles? Imagine this. The longest flight a chicken has ever made lasted only 13 seconds. Although chickens have wings, they aren't designed for long flights. Unlike eagles and other birds, chickens can only take short hops and fly a few meters by flapping their wings. This feature is due to their anatomy. Their bodies are too heavy, and their wing muscles are not developed enough for sustained flight. However, in rare cases, chickens can cover significant distances, but this is the exception rather than the rule. So, next time you see a chicken, remember, it may be a bird, but it's far from being an aerial creature. Why is a group of owls called a parliament? Owls are often associated with wisdom, and perhaps that's why their collective noun is a parliament. This term is linked to ancient Greek and Roman myths, where owls symbolized knowledge and magic. The term gained popularity in English literature thanks to Chaucer's writings. Owls often gather as if they're deliberating, which resembles parliamentary meetings. These remarkable birds have keen vision and hearing, allowing them to hunt in the dark. So next time you see a group of owls, imagine them discussing the forest's most pressing matters at their owl assembly. What if I told you that your body has enough iron to make a nail? Have you ever wondered how much iron your body contains? It turns out that the human body has about 3 to 4 grams of this essential mineral. It may not seem like much, but it's enough to make a small nail. Iron plays a crucial role in our bodies. It helps produce hemoglobin, which carries oxygen throughout the body. Without this vital element, many bodily processes couldn't function. Now that you know this fact, you can impress your friends by saying there's a real nail of iron inside you. Did you know that France sent a cat into space? In 1963, France launched Felicette, also known as Astrocat, into space. Electrodes were carefully implanted in her brain, allowing scientists to receive neurological signals during her voyage among the stars. Felicette bravely journeyed into space and miraculously survived the mission, becoming the first cat in history to venture beyond Earth. She not only etched her name into the annals of space exploration, but also showed that animals have been important pioneers in human cosmic endeavors. Is it possible? There is a lake in Tanzania where no one swims? Lake Natron, located near the border with Kenya, is known for its extremely high salinity and alkalinity, which turns any animal that ends up in its waters into a mummy. Birds and fish caught in the lake literally turn to stone due to chemical reactions. Although it looks eerie, the lake's stunning red color draws tourists and photographers. Despite its beauty, locals and travelers never dare to venture into its dangerous waters. Owls don't just see, they mesmerize. Owls don't have typical eyeballs. Instead, they have specialized tubular eyes. This unique adaptation allows them to keep their eyes fixed, giving them exceptional binocular vision and the ability to rotate their heads almost 270 degrees. Thanks to this, owls become masters of nighttime hunting, detecting even the slightest movements in complete darkness. Their eyes are more than just organs of sight. They are powerful tools that make them incredible hunters. And every time they turn their heads, it's like witnessing nature's magic in action. Did you know that penguins swallow stones? These tuxedo-wearing wonders not only excel at swimming, but also have an unusual habit of swallowing small stones. Penguins ingest pebbles to help them digest food more efficiently, using the stones to grind up food in their stomachs, much like birds use gravel. In addition, these stones provide extra weight, allowing penguins to dive deeper in search of fish. This clever adaptation turns penguins into expert divers and makes them even more fascinating. Incredibly, a blue whale's heartbeat can be heard from 2 miles away. The heart of the blue whale, the largest animal on the planet, beats so powerfully that it can be heard up to 2 miles, 3.2 kilometers, away. This amazing fact shows just how enormous and powerful these ocean giants are. A blue whale's heart weighs as much as a car, pumping blood through arteries so wide a person could swim through them. Imagine, this natural machine sets the rhythm of an entire ocean. 6 legs but no steps, the mystery of dragonflies. Dragonflies, like most insects, have 6 legs, but here's the twist: they can't walk. Doesn't that sound illogical? Instead of using their legs to get around on the ground, dragonflies use them for entirely different purposes. Their legs are perfectly adapted for grabbing prey in mid-air. Dragonflies use their legs like a little net to catch insects while flying. This adaptation makes them true masters of aerial hunting, able to catch prey mid-flight and then settle comfortably on a branch to enjoy their meal. For them, life is all about the thrill of the chase. India has become the world's most populous country. In 2024, India surpassed China, becoming the country with the largest population in the world. According to recent estimates, India's population has reached 1,420,000,000 people, overtaking China for the first time. This demographic shift is significant not only for India, but for the entire world, as it influences global economic and social trends. By the way, projections indicate that India's population will continue to grow, peaking around 2064. It's interesting that footprints on the moon will last for millions of years. Due to the lack of atmosphere on the moon, the footprints left by astronauts may remain for millions of years. There is no wind or water on the moon to erase footprints, or even the marks left by spacecraft. This means that the footprints from the Apollo missions, left in the 1960s and 1970s, will remain almost unchanged for millions of years. The moon's surface is like a time capsule of space exploration history. Why could ancient Romans drink poisoned wine without fearing for their lives? In ancient Rome, people believed that mixing wine with honey and certain herbs would turn it into an antidote. This drink, called Mithridatium, was so popular that everyone, from peasants to emperors, drank it. It was said to protect against all kinds of poisons, and legend has it that King Mithridates VI took it daily to become immune to poisons. Many Romans believed it worked. When someone tried to poison him, he survived. So, for ancient Romans, a night with poisoned wine wasn't that scary. How Albert Einstein inspired the character of Yoda. Did you know that the appearance of the legendary Star Wars character, Master Yoda, was partially inspired by Albert Einstein? The filmmakers used photos of the great scientist to give Yoda a wise and thoughtful look. Einstein's genius features, such as his wrinkles, pensive expression, and tired yet intelligent gaze, were the foundation for creating one of the most recognizable characters in film history. This fascinating fact shows how modern cultural icons can be linked to real geniuses of the past. The next time you watch Star Wars, remember that Yoda's wise look hides a bit of one of history's greatest scientists. How did London almost start growing pineapples in the middle of winter? In the 17th century, the English wanted pineapples so much that they started building special greenhouses to grow them. These greenhouses, called pineapple houses, were heated with coal, and it could take up to 2 years to grow a single pineapple. Considering that pineapples were a true rarity back then, they were given as royal gifts, symbolizing luxury and status. Believe it or not, the dragon's blood tree cries red sap. On the island of Socotra, there grows an ancient tree that releases a bright red sap that looks like blood, giving it its name. The sap of the dragon's blood tree has been used for centuries in medicine, as well as for making dyes and even in rituals. This unusual substance acts as a natural antiseptic and is still considered a valuable resource in some cultures. Legends say that the tree guards its secrets, and the sap is the tears of an ancient dragon. Amazing but true. Donkeys have more personality than horses. Donkeys are often seen as stubborn, but they're actually very intelligent and emotional. They can remember their friends, both humans and other animals, for over 20 years. Donkeys form deep bonds and can sense changes in their owners' moods. They love attention, can get jealous, and even become sad if ignored. These emotions make donkeys incredibly unique and affectionate animals that deserve much more appreciation. Who would have thought that the wombat is a true architect of nature? Imagine this. The small, furry wombat living in Australian forests is not just cute, but unique in a very peculiar way. It's the only animal on the planet that leaves cube-shaped droppings. Yes, you heard that right. Perfect little cubes. These unusual blocks don't just roll down hills. Wombats strategically place them to mark their territory. The cubic shape helps prevent them from rolling, which is especially useful in hilly areas. Scientists have long wondered how wombats manage to produce such regular shapes. The secret lies in the unique structure of their intestines, which compress the waste into perfect cubes. Nature never ceases to amaze, and wombats with their cube droppings are a shining example of how fascinating her creations can be. What's the longest time between the birth of twins? The longest recorded gap between the birth of twins is 87 days. This astonishing record was set when one twin was born prematurely, and the other stayed in the womb for almost 3 more months. Imagine that. One twin born at the end of 1 year, and the other in the following year. This unusual story adds a remarkable milestone to the family's life, creating a unique timeline between the births of these twins. Did you know the shape of Pringles chips is a mathematical masterpiece? When you enjoy crispy Pringles chips, you probably don't think about how their shape wasn't created by chance. This shape is called a hyperbolic paraboloid, and it allows the chips to resist breaking as easily as regular potato slices. Moreover, this geometric design is perfect for stacking chips neatly in their iconic cylindrical can. So, these chips are not only delicious but also a true work of mathematical art. Why are towers in the desert built so tall? In the UAE and other desert regions, modern skyscrapers are not just built high for beauty, but to minimize the impact of heat. At great heights, temperatures are cooler, which helps save on cooling costs. Additionally, tall buildings provide maximum shade to surrounding areas. This unique design solution allows desert cities to counteract extreme climates, creating an oasis of coolness right in the middle of the desert. How did jellyfish learn the secret of immortality? In the deep ocean lives the jellyfish Turritopsis dohrnii, known as the immortal jellyfish. Unlike other creatures, this jellyfish can revert to its juvenile state, effectively rewinding time. If it ages or suffers injury, it simply regenerates, starting its life cycle over. This process is called transdifferentiation. Scientists believe that the jellyfish's genetic mechanisms may one day help humans extend their lives. Studying the immortal jellyfish not only captivates us, but also opens the door to discovering the secrets of eternal youth. Did you know that the name John is over 4,000 years old? The name John is one of the oldest in human history, documented more than 4,000 years ago. This name has endured through countless ages and cultures, remaining relevant even today. Just imagine, millions of people throughout history have carried this simple yet powerful name, which continues to symbolize tradition and endurance. What if I told you that space smells like burnt meat? It's strange, but astronauts who have returned from space report that the space environment has a distinct smell, resembling burnt meat or metal after welding. This is due to complex chemical reactions occurring at the molecular level in the vacuum. While space itself doesn't carry smells, the scent becomes noticeable when astronauts return to their spacecraft. Did you know the world's largest living rodent can weigh over 60 kilograms? The capybara, or water hog, is the largest rodent on Earth. It can grow up to 1.3 meters in length and weigh as much as 66 kilograms. This semi-aquatic herbivore, native to South America, has webbed feet that help it swim. Capybaras can hold their breath underwater for up to 5 minutes and are highly social animals, often living in groups of up to 100 individuals. Why do you think giraffes have black tongues? Giraffes have tongues nearly half a meter long, and they're not just black, they're blue-black. This unique color isn't random, it protects them from the sun. Giraffes spend hours each day stripping leaves from tall trees under the hot sun. The dark color acts like a natural sunscreen, preventing sunburn. This amazing adaptation lets giraffes spend all the time they need in the sun without worry. Nature thought of everything. It's hard to believe, but sea stars can evert their stomachs. Sea stars have a bizarre and fascinating way of eating. They can push their stomachs outside their bodies to digest their prey. When a sea star encounters something too big to fit in its mouth, like a clam or mussel, it wraps its stomach around the prey, releasing digestive enzymes to break down the food. Once the meal is digested, the sea star pulls its stomach back inside, along with the nutrients. This unique method makes them some of the most unconventional predators in the ocean. Talk about dining al fresco. Why zebra foals start running right after birth. Zebra foals can run just 1 hour after being born. This amazing ability helps them survive in the wild, where predators are always on the lookout. Baby zebras are born with strong legs that allow them to stand up quickly and keep up with their herd. Thanks to this skill, they can avoid danger from the very start of their lives. Imagine being able to run within an hour of being born. These striped cuties are ready to show off their impressive speed and agility right from the start. Why do you think there are ice hotels in the world? In some northern countries, such as Sweden and Canada, hotels are built entirely out of ice. Every year, these buildings are reconstructed as they melt by the end of winter. Ice hotels offer guests the opportunity to sleep on ice beds, in ice rooms, surrounded by ice sculptures. However, warm sleeping bags are provided to ensure a comfortable night's stay. It's a unique way to experience the real winter. Who would have thought a group of badgers is called a cete? In the world of wildlife terminology, a group of badgers is known as a cete. This unusual term adds a bit of quirkiness to the vocabulary of nature. Badgers are known for their burrowing abilities, and they form close-knit social groups. This unique collective noun perfectly captures their digging prowess and teamwork. So, next time you see a group of badgers, you'll know you're witnessing a cete in action, a true badge of nature's oddities. Who would have thought that the world's most pierced man has over 500 piercings? British IT specialist Rolf Boltz holds the title of the most pierced man in the world, with a staggering 516 piercings. His body is adorned with horn implants, stretched earlobes, and tattoos. Known as the man with horns, Rolf enjoys the attention his unique appearance brings. Despite his unusual looks, Rolf says that his piercings are a form of self-expression, and he loves the reaction they provoke. Butterflies taste with their feet. Butterflies travel the world not just by flying but by walking on their food. They have taste receptors located right on their feet, giving them a sort of built-in gourmet GPS. These special sensors allow butterflies to quickly find the perfect leaves to lay their eggs. Imagine living in a world where you don't taste with your mouth but with your feet. Butterflies live in that curious reality every day. Amazingly, trees can communicate with each other. Scientists have discovered that trees communicate through root systems and fungal networks. This so-called wood wide web allows trees to share nutrients and warn each other about pests. They can send signals about water scarcity or threats so that nearby trees can prepare. This communication system makes forests much more complex and interconnected than we ever imagined. Why is the world's only pink river dolphin unafraid of people? In the Amazon, there lives a unique pink dolphin that not only stands out for its unusual color, but also for its amazing courage. These dolphins often swim near people, and locals believe they have special magical powers. Ancient legends say pink dolphins can transform into humans and visit villages at night. Scientists have yet to confirm these stories, but the mystique and friendliness of these animals have made them symbols of Amazonian lore. Vultures and their cooling trick. Vultures have a unique way to stay cool in hot weather. Since they can't sweat, they've developed an alternative method. They poop on their own legs. The water in their droppings evaporates, cooling their skin. This process is called urohydrosis, and it also helps to sterilize their legs after coming into contact with decaying food. So, if you ever see a vulture with white streaks on its legs, know that it's not just dirt. It's a clever way to beat the heat and keep clean. Nature certainly has its own surprises. Why do different countries have different-sized banknotes? Banknotes in various countries are sized differently to help people with visual impairments distinguish them by touch. For instance, in the United States, all bills are the same size, but in euros and British pounds, each denomination varies in length and width. This helps not only the visually impaired, but also everyone else quickly differentiate denominations without looking. Additionally, It adds protection against counterfeiting, as counterfeit bills rarely match the exact sizes of the originals. Did you know one lightning strike could toast 100,000 slices of bread? A single lightning strike can generate enough energy to toast about 100,000 slices of bread. This figure highlights the colossal power of lightning and its ability to generate incredible amounts of energy in just fractions of a second. Next time you see lightning, imagine how powerful nature is, not only booming thunderously, but also capable of powering an entire electric grid. Nature continues to astonish with its immense potential. Galileo didn't invent the telescope. Many people believe that Galileo Galilei invented the telescope, but in reality, he improved upon an existing design. The first telescope was actually created by a Dutch spectacle maker named Hans Lippershey in 1608. Galileo made enhancements to this design and used the telescope for astronomical observations, discovering phenomena such as lunar mountains and Jupiter's moons. His contributions to science are invaluable, but it's important to remember that great discoveries often build upon the work of those who came before. It's interesting that elephants have toes on their feet. Beneath the massive feet of elephants lies something surprising: 5 toes, with thick pads that help evenly distribute the giant's weight. This allows elephants to move almost silently, despite their enormous size. Furthermore, these toes help them walk on various terrains, from desert sands to dense jungles, without getting stuck or injuring their feet. This foot structure makes their movement light and graceful, with each step feeling the surface beneath them. Sharks can smell a drop of blood from miles away. Sharks have one of the most impressive senses of smell in the animal kingdom. They can detect blood in a ratio of 1 part per million of water, allowing them to track their prey from great distances. This ability makes sharks some of the most dangerous predators in the ocean. Their olfactory system is so developed that they can detect even the slightest changes in the chemical composition of water. Sharks not only track prey, but can also avoid potential threats, making them true masters of survival. This incredible sense of smell enables them to hunt effectively even in the deepest, darkest waters. So if you find yourself in the ocean with a cut, beware. A shark could sense it from miles away. Did you know that a jiffy is an actual unit of time? The term jiffy is not just a figure of speech, it's a real unit of time. In scientific terms, a jiffy is defined as the time it takes light to travel 1 centimeter in a vacuum, which is approximately 33 picoseconds. While we often use the word to refer to something happening quickly, scientists have made it a measurable moment. This fun fact shows that even the quickest of moments can be quantified if you delve deep enough into the mysteries of time. Did you know that Tokyo has buildings that can grow? Tokyo has a construction technology that allows buildings to increase in height even after completion. The foundation is reinforced so that additional floors can be added later. This saves space in the metropolis and adapts to changing demands. For example, the Mizushima skyscraper was built with 14 floors, but later grew to 20. Ancient Roman firefighters and their unusual tactics in ancient Rome. Firefighting wasn't just about saving lives, it was a business. When a fire broke out, firefighters would rush to the scene, but they would only put out the flames if the property owner agreed on a price. This strange combination of urgency and negotiation shows just how different firefighting was back then compared to today. Back in those days, saving a building from flames required both money and quick decisions. Did you know that Earth is not a perfect sphere? Our planet is far from being a perfect sphere. Its rotation causes it to bulge slightly at the equator and flatten at the poles. This shape is known as a geoid and results from the centrifugal force generated by Earth's spin. The difference in diameter between the poles and the equator is around 40 kilometers. This deviation from a perfect sphere shows how dynamic Earth truly is, always shaped by the forces acting upon it, even in ways we can't see from the surface. Why did the famous bridge in Venice almost sink? The Rialto Bridge is the oldest and one of the most recognizable bridges in Venice. It began to sink shortly after its construction in the 16th century. Venice itself is subject to constant flooding, so the bridge has gradually sunk over time. Engineers have conducted numerous restoration works to preserve it, but Venice still faces the threat of sinking, and the Rialto Bridge serves as a reminder of the fragility of this magnificent city. What's a Puggle? A baby echidna. Small, round, and unbelievably cute, puggles are baby echidnas. These unique animals are one of the few egg-laying mammals, and their tiny babies hatch from eggs the size of jelly beans. After hatching, a puggle hides in its mother's pouch and feeds on her milk until it's strong enough to leave its cozy shelter. Unlike most other mammals, echidnas retain features that remind us of their ancient ancestors that lived millions of years ago. Each puggle is a little wonder of evolution. Why do some old clocks have one number written incorrectly? If you have ever looked closely at the dials of old clocks, you may have noticed that the Roman numeral for 4 is often written as 3 instead of the standard IV. The reason for this lies in historical traditions. Roman craftsmen believed that the 3 looked more symmetrical on the clock face and was easier to recognize by the eye. This rule has carried over from ancient times to modern antique clocks, preserving its incorrect beauty. Did you know the world's most isolated tree was located in the middle of the Sahara? In the vast expanse of the Sahara Desert, there once stood a legendary tree known as the Tree of Tenere. This solitary acacia was the only tree for miles around and served as an essential landmark for travelers. The tree was about 300 years old and survived the harsh desert conditions by tapping into underground water. Sadly, its story came to a tragic end in 1973 when it was accidentally knocked down by a truck. Today, the Tree of Tenere is preserved in a museum, a symbol of nature's resilience and the dangers of the desert. Lakes underwater? Yes, they exist. It's hard to believe, but there are lakes under the water. They are called brine pools or underwater lakes, and they can be found on the ocean floor. How is this possible? It's all about the high salt concentration in these lakes, which makes the water inside them much denser than the surrounding seawater. These salty pools can look like real lakes, separated from the surrounding water, and sometimes unique life forms can be found in them, adapted to these extreme conditions. This is one of the amazing phenomena of our planet, which looks like something straight out of science fiction. Did you know banana plants can walk? Banana plants may seem immobile, but in reality they can move. Of course, it's not the kind of walk we're used to, but banana plants do actually shift. Over their lifetime, they can move up to 40 centimeters, stretching their roots toward the sun. This movement is so slow that you can't see it with the naked eye, but if you could speed up time, you'd see the banana plant walking toward a sunnier spot to soak up more light. True sun lovers. Believe it or not, rats can laugh. Yes, you heard that right. Rats can laugh. Scientists have discovered that these cute rodents emit ultrasonic giggles when tickled. While humans can't hear these sounds, the rat's laughter has been recorded with special equipment and proved that rats can experience pleasure. This fact opens a new dimension in the study of animals' emotional worlds. Imagine, rats not only run through mazes, but also have fun, just like we do. Who would have thought that rats could be so funny and emotionally responsive creatures? The slowest musical composition will last 639 years. In 2001, a group of musicians began playing John Cage's piece called As Slow as Possible. This unique performance is set to last 639 years and will finish only in 2640. Just think, several generations of people will listen to the same musical piece, hearing only slight changes in melody each year. This is the longest musical performance in human history. Can you believe it? Cows have best friends. Cows, beyond being valuable farm animals, are incredibly social creatures with rich emotional lives. They can form strong friendships with other cows, and if separated from their best friends, they can become stressed. Cows often spend time together, graze in pairs, and express their emotions through unique vocalizations. Their social bonds highlight that cows are not just animals providing milk, but they have their own emotional worlds that deserve recognition. Apple, the richest company in the world. As of January 2024, Apple reached a market capitalization of $2,890 billion. This makes it the most valuable company in the world, surpassing giants like Microsoft and Saudi Aramco. Apple continues to surprise the world with its innovations, shaping the future of technology and influencing the global economy. Every new Apple product creates a frenzy, and its impact on the modern world is hard to overstate. It's amazing how one company can have such a huge influence on millions of lives. Cows have a phenomenal sense of smell. Cows can boast an extraordinary sense of smell, capable of detecting scents from up to 6 million meters away. This means a cow can sniff out fresh grass or a water source from miles away. This sensitivity helps cows navigate their surroundings, find food, and avoid danger. But their sense of smell isn't just about finding food. It also helps them recognize their calves and even other herd members. This ability underscores how important the world of scents is to them and how closely they are connected to the natural environment. Believe it or not, your brain generates about 70,000 thoughts a day. Imagine your brain as a factory of ideas working non-stop. Every day, it generates around 70,000 thoughts. That means a new idea, memory, or decision is born in your head every few seconds. This incredible ability allows us to multitask and quickly adapt, processing thousands of decisions automatically. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by thoughts, remember, your brain's powerful thinking factory is in full operation. Can you imagine that the total weight of all ants on Earth equals the weight of all humans? Despite their tiny size, ants are among the most numerous creatures on the planet. The total weight of all ants on Earth is equal to the weight of all humans. This astonishing fact highlights just how numerous these small workers are. Ants live in every corner of the planet, and their contribution to ecosystems is incredibly important. It's another example of how nature surprises us with its unexpected scales. Who would have thought that ants are such heavyweights in the natural world? El Popo, Mexico's fiery mountain. Popocatépetl, known as El Popo, is one of the most active and dangerous volcanoes in the world, located just 50 kilometers from Mexico City. It regularly spews thousands of tons of gas and ash into the air, keeping geologists and locals on their toes. Its unpredictable nature makes it a constant threat, but also serves as a reminder of nature's power and destructive force. Each eruption of El Popo is a reminder that our planet is alive and capable of awe-inspiring phenomena. Believe it or not, octopuses have 3 hearts and 9 brains. Octopuses aren't just extraordinarily smart, they are also built in incredibly unique ways. They have 3 hearts that pump blue blood and 9 brains, 1 central brain and 8 mini brains in each tentacle. These mini brains allow each tentacle to move independently, almost as if they have their own will. Octopuses are so unique that scientists consider them one of the most mysterious creatures on Earth. Camels, the giants of the desert. Despite popular belief, camels didn't always live in deserts. They originally descended from ancient animals that roamed the forests of North America around 30 million years ago. Over time, they migrated to Africa and Asia, where their humps became an adaptation for surviving in hot climates. These humps, filled with fat, allow camels to go without water for up to 2 weeks. They can drink up to 50 liters of water at once, making them masters of survival in environments where other creatures would perish. Camels remain a vital part of life for many desert communities. Why do leaves turn red and yellow in the fall? When autumn comes, trees turn off photosynthesis. During this process, the green pigment, chlorophyll, breaks down, and other pigments, carotenoids and anthocyanins, reveal themselves in yellow and red hues. It's like nature putting on a colorful show. Interestingly, the cooler and sunnier the autumn, the brighter these colors will be. Have you ever realized that this is nature's magical performance happening right before your eyes? Horsepower, more than just a name. Did you know that a horse can produce a lot more than just 1 horsepower? The term was coined by Scottish engineer James Watt to compare the power of steam engines to the strength of a horse. It turns out that a single horse can actually generate a maximum output of up to 18,000 watts, which is roughly equivalent to 24 horsepower. This number depends on factors like the horse's size, breed, and physical condition. While we often use this unit to measure cars and machinery, its origins tie us back to the era of steam engines and the Industrial Revolution. Do you know what the deepest lake in the world is? Lake Baikal, located in Siberia, is the deepest freshwater lake on Earth. Its depth reaches 5,315 feet, which is about 1,620 meters. This natural wonder holds a wealth of secrets, preserving ancient layers of sediments and housing unique species found nowhere else. Lake Baikal is not just a body of water. It's a living archive of the planet's history, containing traces of Earth's evolution hidden deep within its waters. Who would have thought the world's smallest fish is less than 1 centimeter long? The world's smallest fish, Pedocyprus progenetica, found in the waters of Indonesia, measures only 7.9 millimeters in length, less than 1/3 of an inch. Weighing just 0.004 of a gram, this transparent fish has no scales or teeth. It lives in peat swamps and feeds on plankton. Despite its tiny size, this fish faces significant threats from habitat loss and pollution, proving that even the smallest creatures play a vital role in the ecosystem. Is it possible that your electronic devices are listening to you? Modern smartphones and smart speakers, such as Alexa and Google Home, can indeed eavesdrop on conversations. Built-in microphones activate when the devices recognize a wake word to turn on. Although companies claim that such data is not saved, many users find that advertisements match their recent conversations, even if they haven't searched for it online. Why hasn't Ireland's population recovered 160 years after the famine? Imagine a country unable to fully recover its population for more than a century and a half. That's precisely what happened to Ireland after the Great Potato Famine of the mid-19th century. The famine, caused by crop failures, led to the deaths of hundreds of thousands and the mass emigration of millions of Irish people around the world. Even today, 160 years later, Ireland's population is still 2 million less than it was before this tragedy. This incredible demographic puzzle remains a testament to the devastating impact of those events. Wow! Did you know that spiders can jump incredible distances? A jumping spider can leap up to 15 times its body length. This would be like a human leaping across a football field in one bound. These spiders use their back legs as springs, compressing them and then suddenly straightening to get a powerful push. Jumping spiders also have keen eyesight, allowing them to accurately target prey or safe landing spots and even avoid predators. Did you know that there are hotels in Japan run by robots? In Japan, there is a hotel chain called Henna Hotel, where guests are served by robots. Robots can greet visitors, check them in, and even deliver their luggage to their rooms. In some cases, cleaning and room service are also handled by machines. This innovative approach brings a futuristic feel to hospitality, making Japan one of the leaders in robotic service. And although it sounds like the future, you can experience this today. Did you know that sea cucumbers eject their insides to survive? Sea cucumbers are true masters of survival, and their methods might surprise you. When these unusual creatures face predators, they can literally expel their internal organs. This extreme defense mechanism distracts the predator while the sea cucumber escapes. But don't worry. After a while, the sea cucumber regenerates its organs as if nothing had happened. This unusual survival mechanism allows them to thrive in the harshest marine environments, showing that nature sometimes finds very unexpected solutions. How would you react if you knew that in Japan, buildings are made of paper? In Japan, they are developing innovative buildings made from recycled paper. This material is used for temporary structures such as pavilions or exhibition centers. The paper walls are treated with special substances that make them resistant to rain and fire. This is an example of how modern technologies allow for the construction of eco-friendly buildings that are easy to dismantle and recycle, leaving no harm to the environment. Can you believe that the world's oldest cheese was found in a tomb over 3,000 years old? In 2014, archaeologists in China made an incredible discovery: the world's oldest cheese, buried in the tomb of a nobleman from the Bronze Age. Dating back to the 16th century BCE, this ancient cheese was made from a mixture of cow, goat, and sheep's milk. Thanks to the unique burial conditions, the cheese was well preserved, with a crumbly texture and a salty flavor. Interestingly, the bacteria used to make this cheese had consumed the lactose during fermentation, making it lactose-free. Did you know that lions can sleep up to 20 hours a day? Although lions are considered fearsome predators, they spend most of their lives resting. After a successful hunt, lions can sleep up to 20 hours, fully relaxing and restoring their strength. This helps them conserve energy for the next hunt. In a pride, lions often rest together, sometimes even piling up on one another, while it's mostly the lionesses who hunt, as they are more resilient. This behavior allows lions to save energy for short, powerful bursts needed to catch their prey. Did you know that butterflies taste food with their feet? Butterflies don't use their mouths to taste their food. Instead, they have taste receptors on their feet that allow them to determine if a plant is suitable for laying eggs or feeding. When a butterfly lands on a flower or leaf, it tastes it with its feet, and if it finds the taste favorable, it will start sipping nectar. Imagine if we could taste our meals just by stepping on them. This unique sense helps butterflies find the best places to eat and lay their eggs, ensuring the survival of their species. Could it be possible? The Pyramids of Giza were once colorful. When the Pyramids of Giza were first built, their surfaces were covered with smooth white limestone slabs, which reflected sunlight and made them appear bright and sparkling. At the top, there was likely a golden pyramidion, giving the pyramid a dazzling look. Over time, the white stone eroded, and the pyramids became what we see today, stark, but still majestic. Did you know that the highest peak in Pennsylvania is lower than the lowest point in Colorado? This surprising fact highlights the incredible diversity and contrast in the geography of the United States. Pennsylvania's highest point, Mount Davis, stands at only 983 meters, which is actually lower than the lowest point in Colorado, the Arkansas River, at around 1,000 meters above sea level. Geography can sometimes surprise you with unexpected comparisons like this one. Thumbs have their own pulse. Have you ever wondered why people check their pulse using their index and middle fingers instead of their thumbs? It's because your thumb has its own pulse. Each thumb is supplied with blood by the radial artery, which runs along the wrist on the thumb side. This artery is so strong that you can feel its pulse when you touch it. That's why it's recommended to avoid using your thumb when taking a pulse, to prevent mixing up its pulse with your actual heartbeat. Now you know that even your thumb has its own little heartbeat. It turns out that in some countries you can wash banknotes. In countries like Australia and Canada, banknotes are printed on a special polymer material, not paper, making them durable and waterproof. These plastic bills are not only harder to tear, but you can accidentally wash them in your pants pocket and they'll remain intact. This innovation has reduced the cost of producing banknotes and made them more long-lasting. The future of money is money that isn't afraid of water. Turtles. Ancient relics with armor from the past. Turtles are among the oldest reptiles on our planet. Their shells are not just armor, but part of their skeleton that has protected them for over 200 million years. They have witnessed dinosaurs come and go, survived ice ages and mass extinctions. Some species can live over 150 years, and leatherback turtles can weigh up to 900 kilograms. They can swim across oceans, covering thousands of kilometers in search of food. Turtles are true masters of survival, carrying their mystery and charm through the ages. Sleeping with one eye open. How dolphins and birds stay vigilant. Some animals, like dolphins and many birds, have the incredible ability to sleep with one eye open. This phenomenon is called unihemispheric sleep, where one half of the brain sleeps while the other stays awake to monitor the environment. This helps animals stay alert and avoid dangers like predators. For example, dolphins can sleep while staying on the water's surface and continue to breathe. Birds can rest in mid-flight or perched on a branch while remaining vigilant. This remarkable adaptation is an example of how nature has developed incredible survival mechanisms in the most challenging conditions. Did you know that dark forms of oxygen can appear at the ocean floor? Scientists have discovered an amazing phenomenon, the so-called dark oxygen. Typically, we know that oxygen is produced by plants through photosynthesis with the help of sunlight. However, minerals found on the ocean floor can generate oxygen without sunlight. This discovery shocked the scientific community, as it was previously thought that oxygen on Earth only came from living organisms. Research has shown that rocks on the seabed, through a process called electrolysis of seawater, can split it into oxygen and hydrogen. This changes our understanding of oxygen generation on the planet. Johnny Appleseed, the man who planted apples not for food. Many of us have heard the legend of Johnny Appleseed, whose real name was John Chapman. This famous gardener didn't just plant apple trees across America. His goal was much more interesting. He planted trees not for the apples to be eaten, but to produce cider. In the early 19th century, apples were mainly used to make this alcoholic drink, and Johnny Appleseed became a hero among cider lovers. Knowing this story, each glass of apple cider will feel a bit more historical. Chocolate cosmos. Imagine a flower that smells like chocolate. The chocolate cosmos, Cosmos atrasanguineus, is a flower that might surprise you with its scent, reminiscent of real chocolate. This dark red flower, native to Central America, is so rare that it's almost extinct in the wild. Yet it continues to be cultivated in gardens worldwide to enjoy its unique aroma. Imagine strolling through a garden where, instead of floral scents, you breathe in the sweet, enticing smell of chocolate. It's nature's gift to those with a sweet tooth. What if I told you that there's a desert in Chile where it snows? The Atacama Desert is one of the driest places on Earth, but sometimes it snows. This rare natural phenomenon happens due to sudden climate changes and brings precipitation to regions that have not seen rain for years. Snow falling on the red sands of the desert creates an incredible contrast, making this place even more mysterious and astonishing. Tourists from around the world come to witness this unique natural wonder. Hard to believe, but in Madagascar, there is a tree that walks. The baobab tree in Madagascar is known for its roots that can move several meters in search of water. While the tree itself does not move, its root system grows towards sources of moisture, crossing large patches of land. This unique ability allows baobabs to survive in drought conditions and become even more resilient. This species of plants has long intrigued biologists, who are still trying to unravel all the secrets of how these ancient giants survive. Believe it or not, the longest earthquake lasted 10 minutes. In 1960, Chile experienced the longest earthquake ever recorded, lasting an astonishing 10 minutes. This seismic event, caused by massive geological forces, triggered devastating tsunamis that even reached the shores of Japan. The earthquake left behind not only physical damage, but also a deep impact on our understanding of tectonic activity and its influence on Earth's surface. It demonstrated the incredible power of the planet and the constant movement of its layers, reminding us that Earth is never truly still. Did you know giraffes barely sleep? Giraffes are masters of the power nap. These towering creatures need only about 1 hour and 9 minutes of sleep a day. And even then, they break their sleep into short bursts, perfecting the art of napping. This remarkable adaptation shows how nature can surprise us with its creativity. Imagine how productive humans could be if we only needed 2 hours of sleep per day. Amazingly, octopuses have 3 hearts. Octopuses are fascinating creatures with 3 hearts. One pumps blood to the body, and the other 2 pump blood through the gills. Moreover, their blood is blue because it contains copper instead of iron. This makes octopuses not only mysterious, but also some of the most unique creatures on Earth. It's hard to imagine that nature could create such amazing beings with such a unique system. Laika, the first star among space dogs. In 1957, a small Moscow stray named Laika became a true hero when she launched into space aboard Sputnik 2. Laika was the first living being to orbit the Earth, proving that life could survive in zero gravity. Her mission was a key part of the Soviet space program, which paved the way for future space exploration. Though Laika's return to Earth was not planned, her bravery inspired a generation of scientists and marked an important step toward conquering the cosmos. Laika remains a symbol of courage and sacrifice for the sake of progress. Did you know there is a musical record left on the moon? In 1971, during the Apollo 15 mission, a music record was left on the moon with recordings of earthly artists. This record, featuring songs from the Beatles and others, became a symbol of peace and humanity. Today, it remains there as a message for future generations or even aliens who might find it and hear the sounds of our planet. Can you imagine that there's a village in Poland with upside-down houses? In the village of Szymbark, Poland, there's a unique house that stands upside down. It's not just an artistic installation, but a real tourist attraction that you can enter. The house was built as a symbol of the upheavals and changes that Poland experienced in the 20th century. Inside, everything is also upside down. The furniture, the stairs, and even the windows. Visitors who enter often feel slightly disoriented because the inverted space creates a dizzying effect. This place has become a tourist sensation and a must-see for anyone visiting the area. It's interesting that Italy has a failed skyscraper. In Milan, there is a skyscraper that locals call the Failure. The Pirelli building, constructed in the 1950s, became a symbol of architectural failure, constantly requiring repairs due to design flaws. Despite its modern shape, the building became an object of mockery, but over time, it transformed into one of the city's iconic landmarks thanks to its unusual fate. It's interesting that Tokyo has no street addresses. In Tokyo, addresses are assigned not to streets but to buildings, which is very unusual for a large city. Buildings are numbered in order of construction, not by their location on a street. This means finding the right address for the first time can be challenging if you're not familiar with the area. Instead of streets, residents and visitors orient themselves by metro stations and districts, giving Tokyo a unique charm and character. Imagine a flight that lasts only 53 seconds. The shortest commercial flight in the world connects two Scottish islands, Westray and Popo Westray. This flight covers just 1.5 miles and lasts less than a minute, only 53 seconds. By the time you buckle your seatbelt, the plane is already preparing to land. It's probably the quickest and shortest way to travel that you can imagine. If you ever find yourself on this flight, you won't even notice it start and finish. How would you like to visit the world's most isolated island? Tristan da Cunha is the world's most remote inhabited island, located in the southern Atlantic Ocean. It lies about 2,400 kilometers from the nearest mainland. Around 260 people live on the island, most of whom are descendants of British settlers and shipwreck survivors. Tristan da Cunha has no airports, hotels, or restaurants, and the only way to reach it is by boat, on a 6-day journey from South Africa. 57 hours of film, the longest movie in the world. The Swedish experimental film Logistics is officially the longest film in the world. Its duration is 857 hours. That's 35 days and 17 hours. The film was shot in real time and depicts the fascinating, though quite monotonous, journey of a pedometer, a device for measuring distance, from a factory in China to a buyer in Sweden. If you want to watch the entire film, you'll need almost 1.5 months of continuous viewing. Who would have thought that Logistics could be so long? The elephant trunk trick. 40,000 muscles in one nose. Yes, you read that right. An elephant's trunk contains about 40,000 muscles. That's more than the entire human body, and this is why an elephant's trunk is so incredibly versatile. With it, elephants can lift heavy branches, gently pick berries, drink water, make sounds, and even caress their young. But did you know that young elephants often suck on their trunks, just like children suck their thumbs? It helps them feel calm and secure. A true wonder of nature, such a complex and multifunctional organ like the elephant's trunk. Hard to believe, but there's an ice castle in Norway that disappears every spring. In the village of Alta, in northern Norway, every winter a stunning ice hotel and castle are built entirely from snow and ice. This unique structure exists for just a few months. Once spring arrives, it melts and vanishes. Every year, the ice hotel is rebuilt from scratch, with new ice sculptures, an ice bar, and rooms for guests. This project has become a major attraction for tourists, who come to admire the incredible architecture and immerse themselves in a world made entirely of frozen water. Did you know that margherita pizza was named after a queen? Margherita pizza, one of the most popular types of pizza in the world, was named after Queen Margherita of Savoy, the wife of King Umberto I of Italy. Legend has it that the pizza was created to represent the colors of the Italian flag: red, tomatoes; white, mozzarella; and green, basil. This is not just a delicious dish, but also a symbol of Italian national pride and culinary tradition. So the next time you order margherita pizza, think about its royal origins. Did you know that cats use their whiskers as measuring tools? Cats are masters of agility, and their secret lies in their whiskers. These long, sensitive hairs aren't just decorative, they play an essential role. A cat's whiskers are usually about as wide as its body and help them determine whether they can fit through narrow spaces. It's like they have a built-in scanner, that constantly analyzes their surroundings and warns them of obstacles. Thanks to these magic hairs, cats can move confidently even in complete darkness, always graceful and swift. So the next time you see a cat squinting to judge a space, remember, their whiskers have already done all the work in the background. Can you imagine there's a bridge in Sweden that goes underwater? In Sweden, there is a unique bridge called the Öresund Bridge, which connects the country to Denmark. This bridge suddenly ends and dives underwater, turning into a tunnel. This engineering marvel was designed to avoid interfering with sea traffic. Driving from Sweden to Denmark gives the feeling that you're diving into the sea right in your car, adding an exciting element to the journey. Why did ancient Romans wear togas? The toga was a symbol of Roman civic authority and status. Only free men could wear it, and putting it on incorrectly was considered shameful. But it wasn't just about fashion. The toga was highly impractical and required constant adjusting, signifying that its wearer was above manual labor. Plus, it was so hot and uncomfortable that Romans only wore it on special occasions. Who would have thought ancient fashion could be so complicated and impractical? The Babylonian lottery. Fate decides dinner. Imagine your dinner invitation being decided by a lottery. In ancient Babylon, there was a lottery where fate literally determined who would attend the feast. This method of selecting banquet guests added an element of randomness and unpredictability to social life. Fate played a decisive role in who would be at the dinner table. This ancient custom shows just how much in life can depend on chance, especially when it comes to something as delightful as dinner. Did you know the world's longest beard measured over 5 meters? The world's longest beard belonged to Hans Langseth, a Norwegian who passed away in 1927. His beard measured an incredible 5.33 meters, or over 17 feet. His legendary beard was so impressive that it was showcased at fairs and exhibitions. After Hans's death, his beard was donated to the Smithsonian Institution, where it remains on display. This epic beard has become a symbol of beard greatness and is admired by many. Did you know the largest living organism on Earth is a mushroom? The honey fungus, also known as the giant mushroom, covers an astonishing 2,385 acres in the Malheur National Forest in Oregon, USA. This fungus forms a massive underground network of mycelium, which is the vegetative part of the fungus that spreads beneath the soil. The mycelium isn't visible to the naked eye, but it is responsible for the mushrooms that appear above the ground. Can you imagine one organism covering such a vast area? It's a true wonder of nature that few people know about. Did you know the world's oldest message in a bottle was found after more than a century? In 2018, a bottle washed ashore on a beach in Western Australia containing a message tossed into the Indian Ocean by a German ship in 1886. This message had traveled through the seas for an incredible 132 years before being discovered. Talk about slow and steady mail service. It's a fascinating glimpse into the past, connecting us with a different era.